Welcome to Business Reporter's Future of Payments campaign. I'm Georgie Frost. What is cash good for anymore? Its critics claim it's outdated, slow and unreliable. And in an increasingly digitised world, there is no place for physical money. But is that true? PayComplete, a global leader in cash management solutions, believes that cash is not only here to stay, but has unique values that no other payments can offer. Let's hear from Simon James, Chief Executive Officer, and Angus Burrell, Head of Global Marketing from PayComplete. Simon, Angus, welcome. Angus, to you first, what are some of the common misconceptions or ideas around cash?
So firstly, for us, cash means physical money that you can hold in your hands, notes and coins, nothing else. That's what we mean when we refer to cash. And there is a ludicrous misconception globally that cash is dying, that it soon will no longer be in use. We categorically know that's not the case. We've carried out our own research, having interviewed 500 businesses across Europe, the UK and the US. We found that 6 in 10 of them say they don't believe cash is going to die. And that is because they see so many of their customers transacting with cash. It forms such a big percentage in different countries of the revenues that they're bringing in.
I imagine when you break that down, though, it's a very different picture across different countries in the world.
Absolutely. So if we take, Central Europe, the central bank stats there are really saying it averages out countries like Spain, nearly 70%, Germany 60%. The UK is down at 21%, but that still means 1 in 5 transactions is cash.
But there's still £84 billion worth of cash in circulation.
And that's actually slightly increasing due to the cost. When we look at it globally, nearly a third of transactions are still done in cash.
And how would that harm businesses and economies, just the narrative that cash is dead?
Yeah, it's a shame because, if we look at it sort of globally, 1 in 4 people are still unbanked and the only mechanism they have to buy anything is cash. Now, obviously that varies by country, but even if you take, the UK where we are now, every transaction was done, 15% was cash in 2021. That increased every year and now, 2 years later, it's at 21%. So it's not going away, and that will mean that 1 in 5 people can't spend in those particular businesses if they're not accepting cash.
Cash needs to be accepted by businesses alongside other methods of payment in order that they allow all of their customers to pay for what they want, how they want, when they want. And not accepting cash means that any business is actually going to be potentially losing revenue.
What are the dominant methods of cash management? You just mentioned it there.
Amazingly, quite a lot of businesses do actually still count cash manually. You'd be very surprised. Another way is what I call semi-automated, so it's using some element of machine counting. It could be a smart drawer in a till which knows how much money is in there, so it's sort of partly counted when it gets to a business's back office into the finance side of the business.
If we take, a good example, we have customers that run airports. By running airports, I mean, you walk in an airport, there's so many different retail outlets. They're not all run individually. There's one company that runs that. So we were working with them because every morning they have all the armoured trucks turn up with coins and notes and bags of them, take them into a back office where there's up to 30 people, spend their life making the floats and counting the money and putting it in. And then at the end of the evening, the armoured trucks come and collect it again.
There is a particularly large business in the UK, but they have 6 people in every branch manually counting cash still. That's an enormous cost. It means there are discrepancies because humans make more errors than computers, naturally. It also means that you get this wonderful thing called leakage or theft by employees, which you don't get if you automate things and use machines. So there are huge amounts of benefits to this. It's just businesses need to grasp the fact that cash is still alive.
But also one of the benefits of digital is data.
Yeah.
How does cash compete with all of those things?
Yeah. Data is a huge thing. We all talk about data, big data. Businesses love data. They love analysing what they've got, where it is. I think there's, again, we talked about misconceptions earlier, a misconception that cash doesn't give you any data. In fact, what we do is essentially digitise cash. we allow businesses to have that data, to track their cash, to see where their cash is, to move their cash from different parts of their business operations to other parts. So effectively, we are helping businesses view cash in the same way that they view other forms of payment. I know for a fact that in the UK, 1.26 billion was the cost for businesses accepting credit and debit card transactions. Cash is there. If I'm a small business particularly and I take £50 for something, I still have that £50 to pay a supplier. If I took that with a card, I'd probably have £48.50 left, not 50. So there's a much more obvious cost.
Let's talk a bit more about how you are helping businesses. Can you walk me through the process of that?
The benefits and help we can bring to a business by a mix of hardware devices overlaid with our software will mean that they'll be much more streamlined, far more efficient, help them redeploy manpower elsewhere and put cash back into their business. But to bring it back down to a very simple example, small local retailers, the most important thing they want is their income as fast as possible. So during the day, they're taking money, they're taking their credit cards. What we try to do is to match what they get from their credit cards. It's online and they get paid to their bank account. With cash, the banks don't want them to walk in with their takings every day with the bags and hand it over. So our solutions basically allow them to deposit in their back of their office into a safe, digitally, and it's online then, and it's instantly paid into their bank account while the cash is still there, and then it's collected later by an armoured truck.
So finally, what are your key takeaways from this conversation, Angus?
The key takeaway for me is that cash isn't dead. Very, very, very simple. It needs to be viewed alongside other payment methods, but not completely disregarded. And I think it's important for businesses to really think about how they manage cash, because if they don't accept cash or don't want to accept cash, then they're losing out on a significant portion of business, wherever they are.
Simon?
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think we have to be inclusive. Cash is people's choice. The amount of cash, coins and notes in circulation in the UK now is twice what it was in 2003, in 20 years. So it's still needed. Again, but let's embrace it and let's enhance it and let's make it simple and easy to use.
Thank you. Simon James and Angus Burrell from Pay Complete.